All right, all right, all right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Look who I've got here, ladies and gentlemen. I've got Dan McCarthy, Macca Sport. Everyone knows this particular account in Chelsea Football Twitter community. A lovely human being, lovely account, and someone who's always providing good insight into what's going on within the Chelsea community. So happy to have him in our discussion here for the review. So, guys, firstly, I just want to say, welcome, Dan. How you doing?
Appreciate it, Miz. Appreciate the kind words, buddy. Excited to be on it. Talk a bit of football, talk a bit of Chelsea. Just played. Really excited to be here, man. Obviously, like to give my time to good guys like yourself. So, yeah, excited to talk about it.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. Thank you. Let's get straight into it. Look, my last review that I did with Elizabeth, I sort of went through the whole match and key events and whatnot. This one, I want to do it a little bit differently because I felt, as all the fans will probably tell you, is this was pretty much a nothing game. So I don't want to focus too much on the different events that took place in the match. I want to sort of talk about some key players that really stood out. I think this is probably the match that everyone sort of had that sort of mentality that let's look at certain players, how they play, many rotations. The first player that I want to start off talking to you about is Billy Gilmour, Dan. Billy Gilmour, for me, that whole game, he was involved in everything, in the defense, in the offense, in midfield. Every play that we were doing, he was involved with nice, nifty passes. He was very, tenacious in his approach. And he was buzzing, man. How did you feel about his performance overall?
Yeah, Billy G. Good to see him back right in the reckoning. Big fan of Billy in general. I know Lampard is, Jody is, everybody is, right? He looked sharp tonight, surprisingly very sharp in terms of his touch. His first touch was brilliant in small spaces, which he's always been strong at, but he's been out for a long time, and match fitness, as we've talked about in the past, is a lot different to any other fitness. And he looked very sharp. He was confident. He was getting on the ball as much as he possibly could, always opening up, finding half spaces and gaps to get on the ball and switch the ball very well. We saw his array of passing technique, right, from short to long. Accuracy was fantastic. And I thought he was very, very strong tonight. And he's just, solidified himself in that first team squad even more again than he already did. And, there's been talk about him going on loan and whatnot. And I'm sure we'll get into that in a minute. But I think tonight he's shown why Chelsea love him so much. All the social media was buzzing about him. Even the Chelsea account, right? It was Billy G. Billy G. There's a reason for that. He's a great player. Just before I came on in, Miz, I saw a tweet from a big account, Fully Accumulators. Someone retweeted it from like 2017, and it was, I can't believe Chelsea paid $500,000 for a 15-year-old or whatever it was. Now look.
They're eating their words. Their words.
So, massive fan of Billy. Thought he was great tonight. I thought he showed why he belongs in this squad, and he's going to be a big player for Chelsea in the coming years. And I think he should stick around really as long as he possibly can, because we're going to need him for sure.
Yeah, man. Look, as you said, his array of passing ranges that he had was fantastic. In regards to his position, as you said, there's no doubt this player is going to be the future of Chelsea. He's going to be in and around. I don't think there's going to be any talks about loans for him in January. No way. We'll get to the players that probably need to go on loan. One of them is Tomori, and we'll get to that. But in regards to Billy Gilmour, where do you see him, long term, his best position? He kind of played today as an 8, but sometimes closer to Jorginho as well, sort of like drifted in between that, like a hybrid sort of role. Where do you sort of see him play more regularly down the track?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've seen him predominantly, obviously, in the holding position when he's featured, right? And then tonight we saw him, which is a topic, right? People were talking about that before the game. Where would we see him? I saw a couple of polls, and I voted on one myself saying that he would be an 8 tonight, and it figured out that he was in the end. And he showed that he's comfortable in the 8. He picked up the ball a few times in the attacking third, and in tight spaces, and was good there. I don't think he's a 10. I don't think we'll ever see him there. I don't think he has that same quality as maybe like a Havertz, with the final ball and stuff like that. And that's okay. But I think he showed tonight that, he could play the 6 and the 8 very comfortably. And like you said, Miz, very good word you used was a hybrid. And which is great. Lampard loves that. Players that can play numerous positions. I think he's comfortable in either, to be honest. Where do I see him in the future in this team? You can look at it two ways. It's going to depend on future transfers. If Conte does well in the holding, then maybe we'll see more of him in the 8 as such, because we might rotate the 8 a bit more. However, if we sign a holding mid, we could talk about that all day long, right? But if we do sign that person, then we will see him in even more of an 8, right?
Yeah.
So, I think we'll see him more in the 8 than the 6, I personally think, but that could change with transfers. That could change with shape for sure, but he can play both. And I think he's more than good enough to play in that 6 role as well. You know, he does a very good job he's very tenacious. He's aggressive. He gets stuck in. He reads the game very well. And then when he wins it, distributes it to, the more attacking flair players. So to give you a solid answer, Miz, I'll say I think we'll see him more of an 8 than a 6, but we'll see him in both for sure.
No, fair point, man. I kind of, it's what you said. I mean, he's done so well in the 6, but as you said, Kante being there, plus, a comment from Mark as well, we've clearly been linked with Declan Rice for a very, very long time. And if that happens, that then further puts more doubt of Billy playing in the 6, and probably he needs to play somewhere along the 8 sort of play position, which, as you said, he can definitely do that. Now, before we swift on to another player, whilst we're in this whole Billy Gilmour situation, I just want to talk about the midfield of Billy, Kovacic, and Jorginho in this particular match. As well as they looked with the ball, like they're fantastic with the ball. Kovacic, great drives, and so silky movements with Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour, great with the ball as well. Jorginho, we all know the one-touch passes. But my one biggest problem with these type of players when they all play together is when they are without the ball. Without the ball, when we saw Krasnodar with their first goal, they scored. They broke through the middle, and then they went to the, I think, their left side, our right side, and then they put the ball through in the middle, and Remy Cabella just slots the ball through. It felt like there was nothing in the middle, and you know very well if Kante was there, he was going to be zipping side to side and clearing all of that out. How do you feel about these type of players playing together, especially without the ball?
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me if Keppa should have saved it or not. But
that would be mean, man.
We don't want to get into that. But yeah, no, I noticed it, and I think the commentators maybe picked up on it as well. But I noticed it immediately that Azpilicueta was stuck in 2 miles, and he was rightfully to, because he had no support from the middle. Kai and maybe more Kovacic did not get across quick enough. And Billy and Jorginho were purely out of position, both of them. This is obviously a topic with Jorginho, right, in terms of him pushing up too much sometimes and then not having enough athletic capability to get back. And he was lost, and he's not a holding mid. He never has been, never will be. And Billy, I'll be honest, Billy was slow to get back in that particular transition, in that particular moment. You could blame that on fitness. Again, it was a good goal as well, by the way. You don't take nothing away from Krasnodar. They moved the ball very well, and they've got that in their locker. But what I will say is, the transition of the midfield 3 was very slow. And I think that's something you'll notice with the second tier players. It's been a feature of Emerson's positioning is questionable at times. I also think that people have talked about Callum, right? Like Hudson-Odoi, like he's sometimes slower to get back. And, he's a second tier, as you can say right now, but he's getting better at it. So I think you'll notice that more between the first and the second starting 11s. The transitions are slower. Even in the attacking sense, right? Tonight, we weren't as quick getting forward. Anjorin was he's getting in the moment. Havertz is getting his fitness back. So off the ball means you're going to see a lot of differences. On the ball, of course, it's quality, but for us connoisseurs and the guys who enjoy maybe the off the ball stuff and more in depth of the game, you'll definitely see a difference. And tonight, for their goal, the boys didn't get back quick enough in transition. And I think you're right. Maybe Conte could have sniffed that a little bit quicker, and that's what he does best. Definitely a difference for sure.
No, absolutely right. That's a good point that you made in regards to how Callum in recent times have been improving on that off the ball very, very hard, especially that match against Rennes, how he was dropping deep and helping Reece James out many times. So very good point that you said that perhaps Azpilicueta wouldn't have been so confused had Kai Havertz sort of helped out as well. But as you said, we're going to see this in the second sort of B team of ours, and players like Kai Havertz, who are part of the A team, still finding their form back and their fitness back. So it's just a matter of patience, I suppose. Let's get swiftly onto Tino Anjorin. That's the second player that I want to talk to you about. For me, first half, good experience to have in a very big stage like Champions League. I felt it was a bit too much for him in the first half. Probably he was sort of in and out. The second half, he really came into light. He had some fantastic runs, driving runs, Reminds me a lot about Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the way he sort of runs with the ball, that stature that he has. But then he had some really good key passes as well. One he put through to Kai Havertz. I wish he finished it, because that would have been such an amazing story for Tino Anjorin to get an assist in Champions League. What was your overall take of Tino Anjorin, and where do you see him down the track for us for Chelsea Football Club?
Yeah, glad you mentioned him. He was good tonight as well. Good point on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. There's been a lot of comparisons, right, with him because of just a physical stature more than anything, right? The position they play as well, and kind of how they drive for the ball and carry the ball. And rightfully so. You can argue which one's better and which one's got more experience and which one's going to have a better future at Chelsea. You can argue that all day long. We'll get to that another time. But yeah, tonight I thought he was good. I thought he took his chance. If I'm summarising that, I thought he took his chance well. Like you said, I think it would have been lovely for him to get an assist, and he was unlucky not to. Right, that was a lovely little slip ball, and
beautiful.
And he's shown he's got that. He's got that caress. He's got that technique in that final third to play that final ball, which is great. And you can see him more of a 10, whereas we said Billy's maybe more on the other side. So definitely saw the quality there, and even a few touches, right? The back heels, the flicks around the corner. He was confident, and he's a confident lad, and rightfully so, because he's a monster in the academy games. He's pretty much unstoppable when he's on it, and he's got the physical stature to compete in the men's game at the first team level. So of course there'll be a lot of things to improve on off the ball and stuff, but overall I thought he was very good. I thought he showcased himself well. I thought he took his chance, and I think he's got to be feeling confident right now. It doesn't matter about the opponent, how many fans. It's still first team football playing against men, and I thought he played himself very well. And in terms of the future, I think we're going to see him, the more he gets himself back to 100% fitness, playing consistently, and then obviously Ruben on loan now. He brings something different to the squad. So I definitely think we can see him included in a few more match day squads moving forward for the rest of the year. And then as long as that all goes well with injuries and, he performs in the academy and maybe gets a few minutes here and there, next year could be like Billy did last year or the year before, where he really steps in to the first team squad. And even if he doesn't, right, he might get a loan. And that's not a bad thing. I know people will be like, another loan. Right? But play first team football, and if he's not getting it consistently at Chelsea, he's not going to be able to play in the academy forever because it's going to be too easy for him. There's a big difference between academy ball and first team football. So for him to get a loan championship or whatever that is, or abroad, or even a low Premier League team, we're not sure, right? That'd be very good. If we don't get him in the first team squad, and I think he's going to be. He's been at Chelsea since 7 years old, and he's going to be. You'll get used to him. Get used to him. He'll be knocking around for a few more years to come, and I think he'll end up being a first team member of Chelsea in the near future. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Look, unfortunately, obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi is injured at the moment. Do you see any chance of Tino Anjorin perhaps sneaking into the bench at least against Everton by any chance? We are short in the wing space. Do you see that happening or not really?
I think the optimistic part of me wants to say yes, right? He's played well, and it'd be great. But if I'm putting my maybe my clever head on, there's my guy there, Dan Starkey, legend. If we got Pulisic, right? You're looking at Pulisic. He'll be coming in back into the fray, I'm sure. Werner's got minutes tonight. I think that was smart from Lampard to kind of get him moving and get him ready for the weekend. So he's obviously going to be starting. So I don't know if Anjorin's going to make it on the bench, but don't be disheartened if he doesn't, right? Don't be like this. I know there's a lot of comments tonight about Tomori and Henry Lawrence, and as Frank gets it, he's an advocate of the youth. He's doing his best. He's taking care of these kids. That no one's going to be thrown out as a process, right? So I think maybe not the weekend, but he'll be knocking around when he needs to be for sure. And shout out to Reece James there, 21st birthday, Starkey.
Yeah, massive shout out to Reece James, man. 21st birthday, what a way. We're going through such a great momentum. There's also a great birthday celebration for him. That's I guess enough about Tino Anjorin. Let's talk about the third main player that I want to sort of talk about here, and then obviously we can just do some mini assessment on other players and other things. Tammy Abraham, Dan, this was another player that I was sort of focusing, and the reason being for me why I was focusing on him is there's a lot that's been said recently about Olivier Giroud, Tammy Abraham, Timo Werner, Timo Werner with his missed chances and whatnot. Olivier Giroud coming in and banging in goals, and what his agent had to say that, he needs more minutes or else he'll be looking for somewhere to go in January. And obviously now he's getting the minutes. Tammy Abraham had all this goal involvement, but all of a sudden in the last couple of games, he's been sort of sitting down whilst Giroud has been taken over. And this match, I was very focused on Tammy's performance. I wanted to see what he was going to do. I just thought that he was going to come out all guns blazing, really showcasing that, hey, guys, don't forget about me. I'm not here to be the third choice striker. I'm here to stay. I was really, really disappointed about some of his finishing today. Once again, he's always inches away from crosses. There was a first half opportunity. I can't remember exactly who put that ball through. I think it might have been Kai Havertz. And he does really well to take the ball away, and then he smashes the shot, and it was wide. It kind of looked like he was going to celebrate because he thought he was going in himself because he was like sort of walking away to celebrate. It didn't go in. Second half again, he finds himself with another opportunity. Yes, great movement to get that penalty. Fantastic ball from Kovacic, and he moves nicely to get that penalty. But overall, what was your assessment, man? I mean, has he done enough in that performance to warrant displacing Giroud or Werner down the track for the upcoming matches?
I'll answer your last question first, so I'll go reverse order, right? No, he didn't do enough tonight, I don't think, to be knocking on the door of starting at the weekend. I think it was a chance for him tonight against a weaker side. But, I will play devil's advocate in the respect of he's playing with a weaker team as well, right? He doesn't have the service and the free-flowing play of Chelsea's first team with him, which can make a difference, right? Sometimes it's a bit, big fish in a small pond. You can kind of look at it that way, even though Tammy isn't obviously our first choice striker as of now. He's still played his part and been on form in recent times. So, but no, overall, I felt, I would say a little frustrated would be the word with me with Tammy tonight. I've seen a few harsh critics, and I understand it. And I've actually tweeted in the past, like I think maybe after the Liverpool game where he missed the penalty or even before that, I've been harsh on Tammy before, and I don't see Tammy being Chelsea's striker for the next 10 years. But that doesn't mean I don't want him to be. I just don't see it. I think that he's a level. He is a level, and he's a Premier League striker, but I don't know if he's what we need in the coming years. I know that's looking a little bit far ahead, but so I'm just trying to give a rational and balanced view on Tammy. He frustrates a lot of people, right? I think a lot of people he can frustrate maybe because the way he plays.
Frustrates me.
Right. So I'm not, you're not the only one. I've seen it on the platform, and he does that, and for whatever reason. But yeah, tonight he had a couple of half chances, and he could have got that goal, especially the one where Werner smashed it across, and he could have tapped that in, or the one you said where Kai slipped him in, and he's trying to go around the keeper. They're half chances, right? That go forwards will finish. And I think it also comes down to Miz's experience as well. I think in the academy, easier chances, and even when he was playing Championship, easier chances, more chances when you're playing for like the Villas in the Championship and whatnot, and Chelsea as well. And I saw a couple of people tweet that it's becoming a bit of a habit that he's missing easier chances than he should be, and you don't want that to be a habit, right? We've heard the stories, right, of Fernando Torres, and that's my guy, by the way. And I'm going to tell you right now to everybody watching and listening, do not hate Torres towards me because that's my guy.
Man, I love Torres, man. I love him. I don't care how many he's missed for us. I love him.
No, he's my favourite player, but he did miss chances, right? So, and Tammy's now starting to creep into that. Werner too, by the way. Werner's been missing chances. So, but I think what the good thing is there's chances being created, which is great. I think the difference between Timo and Tammy right now is Werner's getting something, whether it's an assist or a goal in the last minute. He's getting something. His mentality is very strong. He keeps pushing. Tammy gets frustrated with himself, gets frustrated with others, fouls, breaks down the flow of the game, and I think that's what frustrates a lot of people. So, no, Olivier Giroud is put himself back in the reckoning, right, as a number one striker. Timo Werner's obviously going to start every game. I've said this for a while now. He's going to start. Every time he's fit, he's going to start. Like, that's the signing that we've made. That's the commitment we've made to him. Same with Kai. So, Tammy, he defies the odds with a lot of people, and he defies the fan base for many reasons. I want him around. I want him to succeed. He's one of our own. If you can't back one of our own, and he can't back anybody, right? So I want him to succeed, and I'd love for him to prove me wrong and be at Chelsea for a long time and knock on the door for number one. But, and I'm going to keep pushing for that. I'm going to keep supporting that. But do I see it? I think he's going to frustrate a lot of people for a long time, I think. And he needs to change something, right? He needs to get better. And we've seen it with the dominant Calvert-Lewin, right? He was similar. You know, he's had a similar path to Tammy, and a lot of people got frustrated with him at Everton, and then he went away for that pre-season or that summer or whatever it did and worked with Damba Ba, and now look at the guy.
And now it's just...
And he's finishing the chances that Tammy's getting in the 6-yard box, right? The headers, which we've...
I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin, by the way. I love him, man.
Yeah, no, he's a striker. He's a forward. He's a poacher. And that's what Tammy has to be. In this team, we're going to create them chances where you've got to tap it in, right? Where it's the easy chances. You've got to... So Tammy can do what Calvert-Lewin has done. He can do that. He's just got to work at it. And we've got to give him time. But yeah, Mark Stevens, I think that's our guy.
Stevens.
Right?
Yeah.
Great guy. Is
Good
Tammy
comment
happy?
from him as well.
Yeah. Is Tammy happy to be a squad player? I don't think it really matters, right? If he's happy or not. I think you've got to find a place in the squad, and he's got to listen to Lampard, and he's got to keep working. If he wants to make it at Chelsea, he's got to understand that he's got to be patient, right? And he's got to understand there's going to be moments where he's out of the team. There's going to be moments when he's in the team. Look at Olivier Giroud, model pro, right? He's proven himself every time. So he should take a leaf out of that book for sure.
100%. And it's so encouraging for all the older players out there, you know, plus 30 or 35. Look at someone like Olivier Giroud, still bossing it, and still, you know, as you rightly said, he's probably number one striker at the moment for Chelsea. He's gone from third striker to number one striker within a week. I mean, that just shows the caliber of this guy. And players like even Timo Werner and, of course, Tammy Abraham can learn so much from someone like Olivier Giroud. Let's move swiftly into the different portions of our team. We'll go with defense, midfield, and forward. We kind of touched on midfield and forward anyway. In regards to defense, for me, the standout sort of player in our defense probably was Rudiger, man. Once again, I mean, this guy, you would have seen it, Dan, in football Twitter so many times, the amount of crap Rudiger cops. Even for myself, I've done it to him as well. Not disrespected him, but I've said that he probably needs to go. But kudos to Rudiger this season. Every little opportunity he's had, he's put on a bit of a performance. He's done a solid performance.
Yeah.
For me, once again, another solid performance. How'd you look at our back line? Who was your standout? Was it Rudiger?
Yeah, so again, defence, midfielders and forwards, we're ignoring the goalkeepers. Yeah, I think well done you. You've done your homework. You make a good point there, buddy. Rudiger's he's solid is the word. It's a good word that you use there. He's been solid. He hasn't, you know, blown anybody out in the water and been like, wow, he should be our third. But you know, I think he's at the level he's at, right? He isn't our first choice centre back, but he's also not our worst centre back. And I'm not hearing Christensen's better than him. I'm not, and that's my personal opinion.
No way.
That's my personal opinion, but I'm backing Christensen. Again, I'll back any player that wears this badge. You know, like anybody, even if I don't like him, I'm going to back him, right? But no, Rudiger is our third choice centre back. He is, and you can argue Tomori, but we can't say Tomori right now because the guy's just not playing. Rightly or wrongly, he's not playing, so we can't sit here and say he's our third choice centre back right now because he's not playing. I think he's quality. I like Tomori. I think he has the ability to be our third, fourth choice, but he's just not playing. So, no, Rudiger was solid tonight. I didn't see his involvement for their goal, but I'm assuming no one's really said his name, so I'm assuming he wasn't really anywhere near it, which is fine. But yeah, he was solid. He's playing at the back more, which I like, and quicker. He's getting the ball out quicker. Sometimes he hesitates. Sometimes he doesn't play the forward pass. I can see improvement there, which is great. And again, he's playing next to Christensen, who they're two new centre-backs. It's a new balance. It's a new partnership. It's not always easy for either of them, right, to play against each other. It'd be easier for them to play with Silva or Zuma. Yeah. So you've got to take that into account. But no, I thought he was solid tonight. And he's firmly our third choice centre-back. And you said it well there, Miz. Credit to him. He could assault. He's got a bit of a personality. He can be volatile at times. We know that. We've heard that. I've heard that around the place. And he's got a personality. He wants to be heard. And he's got a voice. Yeah. But he's used that. You know, he's had an honest chat with Frank. He's been very professional, which is great. I think it might have surprised a few people. And, he's got himself back in the reckoning, and that's football. You know, you said there, Miz, you've gone from third choice to first choice. You've gone from first choice to third. It can happen in a week. One back, Alonso, gone. You know, so that's football. It's cruel. It's cutthroat. I've been there. I've been released from academies. It's tough. But you got to be patient, and you just got to understand and back Frank. Whatever decision Frank is making, he's the guy we're watching training. We hear things, we're connected, we have sources, but we're not there. So, back. Rudiger was good tonight. I don't know if we're talking about the other defenders. I don't know if you're planning on doing that.
We will.
Go ahead, buddy. Rudiger, spot on.
Nah, man, it's so good that you said that. Back Frank Lampard, he sees everything. A lot of talk about one particular player not featuring is Tomori. We've sort of touched on him. I think let's have a quick conversation about Tomori before we go into the other stuff. This player, for me, a lot of people have been saying, is something going wrong? Has there been a fallout with Frank? I personally don't think there is a fallout. It's just we've got too many players, and Frank's just doing what he can do at best from what he's got. The way I look at it is, as soon as 1st of January comes, he's got to find a place straight away and get that loan. He probably should have got that loan in the last window, but look, whatever the case, it's happened. Now, for me, January, he has to go somewhere. What's your sort of thoughts about the whole situation? Do you really think there's something going behind the back with him and Frank Lampard, or it's just an unfortunate situation?
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation, right? It's same as like Callum Hudson-Odoi being left at the matchday squad. It's just, and we'll get to that later, I'm sure. It's just unfortunate, and that's the territory with having a very good squad. Jamie Carragher's of this world, and many are saying that we've got the best squad in the Premier League now, right, and the most depth. Well, with that comes a cost, and somebody's going to suffer. And Frank Lampard's back Tomori. He took him at Derby, didn't have to do that. He won Derby, he won Player of the Year or whatever it was. My memory evades me, but I know he won something over there.
Yeah, Player of the Year. Player of the Year.
Right, so I was right, yeah. And Lampard's brought him into the first team squad at Chelsea. He's kept him. He's played him earlier, and you can't say that Frank Lampard doesn't know him or back him. From what I've heard in previous times, I don't think it's changed. It's nothing personal. There's no argument. There's no, vendetta against Fikayo. I know Lampard was annoyed that he broke a rule or two, and he's been annoyed with other players who have broken a rule or two, and that's fine. Lampard's a model professional as a player, and he is as a coach. That's just how Frank Lampard is. You've got to deal with that. You've got to know who you're dealing with. And it's a big emphasis on the rules and the training, and that's fair enough. I get that as a coach. So I don't think I'm pretty sure, unless something's changed today, that it's not vendetta, it's not personal. I know that he wants Tomori to improve tactically as a position, because, Fikayo is rapid and he's very athletic, but he relies on that sometimes too much. True. Position. He gets beat over the top sometimes. He gets sucked in. He's young, inexperienced, still getting to know the level. It's going to happen. And I know Frank is worried about that. So could he have played more still? Yeah, I think he could have given Tomori opportunities for sure. But who are we? Who are we to say that, right? Who are we to say that? We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And you don't rotate centre-backs as much as you do with others. You just don't. I would love to see Tomori in front of Christensen. I really would. But there's a reason why. Do I agree with the reasons? I don't even know all of them. But the ones I heard, I don't agree with them. I know there's a fear of Christensen leaving the club and going and being an £80 million defender somewhere else. I don't buy that. I don't think he's an £80 million player anyway.
$80 million.
So I don't know why Chelsea. There's rumours of Chelsea being worried about that, and I don't buy into that. That they're scared to let him go and they'll get a plan to keep him happy. But no, Fikayo needs to go on loan, and I'm hearing that he's been linked with a few teams, and that there's interest, and there's going to be interest in there. He just didn't go last time because he wasn't guaranteed playing time. That's the only reason he didn't go. But he will be, right? I mean, he will be guaranteed playing time. People want to take him, and he's clearly not playing at Chelsea. So anything right now is better than that. So it's not personal. I think it's tactical. I think Lampard could have given him a chance or two if possible. But, we've got to be patient with that. And we can't make up stories and say there's a vendetta and there's an argument, because it's just not. It's just professional sports. It's football, and it's a tough squad for sure.
No, you're right. Look, as much as we all love Fikayo Tomori, I know you love him a lot as well. The fact of the matter is there's still a lot for him to learn. And a loan is not a bad option here. I know it's, many may think, it's a backward movement. He started quite a few matches last season. Now he's getting loaned out. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And he's still a young player. He's not at his peak yet. And as you said, there's been instances in every single game where he gets caught out, but his pace and agility helps him get out of it. And, it's not always going to be like that. Pace and agility is not always going to get him out of situation against top clubs. So it'll be good to get that sort of experience elsewhere. And it's not a bad idea. I think him being in the bench as well is probably not a bad idea at the moment, knowing that he possibly is going to go away on a loan, and the last thing you want is him to get injured or whatever, get some sort of injury, and that gets jeopardized. So keep him safe. one last particular player I want to talk about before I want to talk about a couple of other interesting things that has happened this match day. Let's talk about Kepa. You've been telling me about Kepa all stream, so let's talk about Kepa. Personally, I don't think he could have done any better. Besides that save, I don't think he had to do much. There was one save in the second half where he made, which was nice, but that was stock standard goalkeeper save that you have to make. But overall, he didn't get, asked into action too many times. Nonetheless, do you think this player is going to be going in January for loan, or he's still going to stick around for this season?
Yeah, so there's been rumours, right, that a January move, and I've heard from a couple of people I know who have said that there are wheels to that story that he could go in January on loan. For anybody who thought he was just going to sit there and be happy to be on the bench, no. He's trained well. He's a professional when he's going to, and Frank Lampard said that, but he's never going to sit there and be happy at being, and rightfully so. Look at his age, look how much he's worth, etc., etc. So performances aside, he wants to play. So there are potential rumours that he might do that. He might go in January. I haven't heard anything in particular myself, but I spoke to people who have heard that, so I'll let them they'll come out. I'm sure I'll give more info. Today, it's just standard. I think it's just a standard Kepa performance. I said before the game, and I think I commented on one of the Chelsea tweets saying, let's back him. It's good to see him playing again, and we want to see him do well. So let's back him when he's in there, and there's no need to hate on him for no reason, right? He's a human being. Mental health is a real thing. So there's no need to hate on him, And today was just a typical Kepa performance. The goal, I don't know. I don't know, right? If I don't know, then I don't think he could do better. I think I would know if he could do better. You could argue that Mendy saves that just because of his height and he can get across
reach. Yeah.
But I think you could be a little bit harsh there, right? I don't want to push that agenda because I think that's an easy scapegoat and I think that's an easy way out. So I don't know if he could have done better. I'll just kind of go with no if I'm not 100%. And then, he made that one save, which was probably going wide anyway, but he had to make it, and that was nice to see and good for his confidence. And standard, right? Playing out the back, he didn't really have much to do tonight. So it would have been nice to see him tested a little bit more, but he was never really going to be, let's be honest. But I know why people might still go away a little bit, a little bit still, because
no clean sheet again. No clean sheet.
Right? No clean sheet. They've had one shot basically on target and it's gone in. And he hasn't really, again, lit the stars up, as I would say, but he didn't really have an opportunity to. So I think it's just one of them, look, great, he played, got some minutes. Same old with Kepa. We'll move on. Let's get Mendy back in at the weekend. We'll go from there.
No, absolutely, man. I have to agree with you. I think the biggest point that you've made over here is these are human beings, and we need to be very careful how we treat these people, especially someone like Kepa, who has been absolutely butchered over the last few months. And since Mendy has been coming along as well, I think, as you say, let's back him. Whenever he plays for us, let's back him. Hope that he does well. Yeah. And today, honestly, I don't think he could have done any more or any less. He had a stock standard game, and that's good. So let's put a wrap on this particular match before I want to touch on two particular topics. Overall, for me, as we were sort of talking about off air, is that this was a bit of a nothing game personally for me. And, we got to see some players that do well. Billy Gilmour, standout. Tino Anjorin, probably the second best player for us. And these two definitely have big future for us. Is that how you sort of saw the overall match as well? What was your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted it before the game. I literally said, please don't overreact. This is a rotated squad. This has got two kids coming back, one coming back from injury, one coming back from all coming into the squad, right? So, Havertz is still finding his feet. You can see he's been absolutely knocked out by COVID. You can see it. His fitness, his sharpness is not there. I can see it. I think everybody can see it. Frank Lampard said it. He said it. I don't think they realised the extent of how badly it was for Kai in particular. So he's still finding his feet. Tammy's going through a bit of a moment right now. He's up and down. So it was always going to be this game. And they're professionals and they're expected to give 100%, and they did and they will. And Frank Lampard said what a manager should say, that nothing should change. I want a professional. We want to get a win here. And absolutely. But human nature will tell you that if it's a dead rubber and there's rotation, that you're not going to see 7-0 and you're not going to see fireworks. And that's obvious. If you've been in the game for a long time or you've coached the game or whatever, you know that. So I did tweet that before the game that please don't get on here after or during and be kicking off because it's going to go exactly, and it did exactly how it goes. I'm not calling myself a magician. I think many people would have said that. Yeah, I think many people would have predicted that. So yeah, it was a dead rubber. It was a rotational game. We won the group. Get some minutes out there. I know at the end Frank wanted to win it, and rightfully so. And I agreed with the subs he made.
Yeah.
To do that, and unfortunately we didn't get there in the end, right? But I'm walking away. Yeah, it would have been nice to win a game, win 9 out of 10, but I don't think we can be too bothered about it. And it is what it is. It is what it is.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I just hope the boys now really focus and get sharp about the match against Everton. That this was what it was, and it was a great run. Lots of players got some rest as well. So hopefully up against Everton, we come in and really punch them hard because they're on the down as well, Everton. So it's good time to play them. Now, Dan, 2 things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about something a little bit serious. Then I want to talk about something a little bit funny, finish it off with a bit of laughter. First of all, an incident happened in the PSG versus Istanbul match. And because I was watching the Chelsea game, so I didn't know what was going on. I saw a whole heap of sort of stuff happening in the timeline. Damba Ba videos going left, right, and center. And then obviously at halftime I tweeted out, what happened. And then straight away there was an article from The Athletic that came out, which I read. And this is quite disturbing for me. Someone who's sort of faced, a little bit of racism as well growing up, being sort of in the, from the subcontinent, I suppose. I've had that little bit of racism here in Australia, but it wasn't anything severe. Just your basic sort of stuff. And as growing up, you got to deal with that. But when a match official, and this is the statement apparently that happened in that match against PSG, where he was referring to when they were asking him what happened, he goes, "That black guy," referring to the Istanbul assistant coach, which was Weber, Cameroonian player. I'm sure you would have known about Weber. So Damba Ba then goes up to that official, say, if it was a white person, you would have said that guy. If it's, it's a black guy, you're now saying that black guy. How do we get rid of? I mean, this is it. Just baffles me that this is at an officiating level. How do we try and get rid of it as much as we can? And obviously you would have seen the stuff that's been going on in Millwall as well, with players taking this and then booing. I mean, what's going on?
It's the world. It's 2020, right? I think it's important to always get the facts and get everything right before you jump on something like that. And I know it's being kind of clarified now. I tweeted on it myself when Fabrizio, our good friend Fabrizio Romano, tweeted on it. Initially what happened, I saw it and was like, oh my God. And a lot of people tweeted, there's back and forth on the platform, right, saying you got to know all the facts. And, if you're just stating, what colour he is. And it's hard. It's ethical, right? And ethics don't have rules, right? There's no rules and regulations, unfortunately. So it's very tough. Personally, I agree with Damba Ba. You wouldn't say that to another colour. I don't think you'd say that to a white guy, right? I don't think you would. I think a person's a person. And, I grew up obviously in London, which is very multicultural, and I live in LA now, which is even more probably multicultural. Yeah. So I totally get how it is. And so I was disappointed with that. And, it's, like you said there, Miz, this is the top level. This is the top level. This is officials. This is, professionals in the game. And you could argue if it is racist or not. Someone will say, yes, it is. Someone will say, no, it's not. But the fact that we're having to get on here, right, at our level of communications, let alone them levels, and talk about something like this is ridiculous. At the top game in the Champions League, it's just ridiculous. And, you can blame, I saw a couple of people saying the language barrier and then this language. Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter. You should be aware of what you can say, what you can't say, probably in most languages, right? And if you don't, just don't say anything.
Yeah, just keep quiet. Just keep quiet.
Keep quiet or point, but don't go there. So very disappointing. I'm proud as a football guy. I'm proud of the players for both teams just going no.
Yeah, Neymar and Mbappe as well.
Not having that, we're off, and I love that. And Damba Ba, former Chelsea. I mean, I know people who know him and have spoke to him, and what a guy. For him to, he's very passionate guy. He believes in what he believes in. And for him to, as maybe a more of a peripheral figure in that group, for him to stand up and go at that player, go at the official, I thought was the right thing to do. And you can argue again if it's racist or not, but if he feels like he has every right, to defend himself and defend his team, if he feels like that's the way it is, and it's just disappointing. And I don't blame what happened, and it's a shame. It needs to stop. How it stops, I don't know. I'm not that guy, right? I don't have the answers, unfortunately, but you'd like to think you can help and try. But just very, very disappointing, Miz, and hopefully it's out sooner rather than later. And in terms of Millwall, I think Rooney summed it up perfectly in his statement, right? It's just no place for it. There's no time for it. We're not in 1940 anymore. Even it wasn't good back then. It definitely isn't good now. So just grow up, move on, and let's be a little bit more professional about this,
No, you're right, man. Look, we've got some comments here saying that, perhaps Damba Ba was in the wrong, and we were also saying that he's in the right. So, look, don't take this particular show, guys, as something that we definitely know what's going on and whatnot. We just going off the back of what we hear and what we're seeing. All I'm going to say, my final statement towards it is, you don't get a particular player like Damba Ba losing his marbles if there wasn't something there. Do you know what I mean? Like, he would. He's not someone who just goes out there, creates drama. Obviously, something took place. We don't know exactly what it is. The bottom line, as Dan and myself were saying, is we don't want to see this. Do you know what I mean? Like, racism has no place whatsoever anywhere, not just sports, anywhere. It's not cool one bit. So enough about that. Let's now talk about something funny to end this particular show. Man United. These guys were so happy that they got into, Champions League and this and that and group of death and whatnot. And, they were buzzing. They beat PSG initially and they beat Leipzig at home 5-0 or whatever it was. They're in Europa League now. They just lost against Leipzig, which I kind of thought they probably would as well away from home. Leipzig's a very strong team.
Yeah,
they were doing a bit of a comeback though at the end, but nonetheless, these guys are now into Europa League. I mean, I don't understand with Man United, to be honest, Dan. Like, I personally think they've got a very good team, but for me, someone like Frank Lampard is getting so much out from Chelsea. Even last season, we didn't have the same team as Ole had with his Man United. We had a much weaker team than them, and still Frank got so much out of it. And this season, yes, we've bought a lot of players, and we're getting a lot out of it. But for me, I personally think if Frank was the manager of that Man United team's winning a lot of stuff. Is that how you sort of see as well?
Yeah, just a really quick. Yeah, I know you said there, Miz, just that you're getting a lot of comments about what we just talked about right now. I just want to clarify real quick that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we say, because we're and I said it. The first thing I said was you got to know all the facts and all the truth before you comment on something like that, and we might not be right. So that's why we're not going to go into it too much. But I don't want anybody to think that we're on this side or that side and we know what's happening. No, we're obviously just bringing attention to it because we don't want to see it in the game, and we shouldn't even be talking about it. But I don't know all the facts. You don't. We don't know. So it doesn't really matter from our side. It does matter, of course, in the whole game, but what we say overall is an opinion, right? It doesn't really matter. So back onto the funny stuff. Yeah, Man United, they're always a good laugh, right? They're always a good joke. I know they've got this thing, right, when they go down and want to come back. And, fortunately, if you look at it that way, they didn't come back tonight, unfortunately. And VAR tried. I heard. I didn't see.
VAR tried.
Didn't see any of it, but I've heard and read that VAR tried to get them back in it. So, but they didn't. So unlucky boys. But Leipzig are strong, especially at home. The Bundesliga is often touted as a one-team league, and Bayern do win it all the time, which is fair enough. But they win a lot of things all the time, right? They're winning Champions Leagues as well. So it doesn't matter where they're from; they're just a very good team. But Borussia Dortmund are very strong. We saw tonight; they came back. Leipzig, obviously, they've lost Werner, but they've still got Upamecano and a lot of players who are very, very good players, and they're a good team for sure. And and Nagelsmann is a good manager. So they've worked out United tonight. I heard they played a very high pressing game and they figured out United. And they faltered towards the end, and that's going to happen because United are typically stronger in the second half. They're still a good team, United, and they're going to come back, right? But not good enough. And Europa League, it just doesn't surprise me with United. Like, they're just so inconsistent. They can't get it to go. They can't get it going. I'm Ollie in all the way. I'm enjoying this. Ollie Rain, Chelsea fan, keep him.
Save it forever, Ollie.
Ollie is at the wheel. Ollie's going to win it all. Go on. I don't like to get too engrossed with other fans and teams because I know someone's going to get me eventually, right? The platform now that we're on and the level, someone's going to come after me. And I know it always comes back around, and that's football, right? But just with United, I think, Their squad could be doing better. They do need a revamp, and I would, if I was them, I would be getting rid of Pogba. And I actually like Pogba as a player. I do. I don't want him at Chelsea. I don't think he suits Chelsea, but I do like him as a player. I think there's an ability there, and I think if you're the right coach and you've got the right system, you do see the best of Pogba. I think we saw him with France, right, when he had Conte next to him and under Champs. He's a good player. Let's not deny that. He's a world-class player, but I think they need to get rid of him. I think it needs to be a clean break. They need to use the money they'll get for him, if anybody will take him at this point, and and rebuild. They need to build a team around Fernandes, who does my head in, but he's a great player. I'll give him that.
He's a great player. Yeah.
But United in Europa League, you love to see it. Just as a rival fan, you love to see it, and they would love to see it too if it was us. So let's not get it twisted. They would enjoy it too. I'm glad we're not going back down there, but I'm glad we've kind of topped the group. We're on to better things now, so I don't think we need to be comparing to them. But yeah, they're just showing. The word is they're inconsistent, right? And they need to get on. They need to figure it out very quickly.
Nah, so true, Dan, man. As you said, rightly so. We love to see, Man United go back to Europa League. For them, it'll be a banter for us every Thursday night. Here we go.
Win it now, though. They've got to. I was talking to a friend here who's a Man United fan off there, and you've got to win it now. Like Chelsea, at least when we get battered, we go down there and win it, right? And we're back. Like you've got to go down there and win it now, boys. Like and now keep Ollie in. He's the future. Keep him in.
And Europa League this season, they got some blockbuster teams over there. I'm going to have it easy. Let's see what happens there. But that pretty much wraps us our review, man. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully, I'll have you back on some, in the future with better games where we can really, really dig in and have some proper fun. But nonetheless, we had some great time. Thank you to every single one of you guys who have sort of joined in and out throughout this match review. Once again, thank you, Heath. Please smash that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. And before I go, once again, Dan, thank you so much for joining, my man. Some final sort of message for your viewers. I've got all your social media stuff in my description. So, guys, please follow Dan. He's got a lot of intel, and he's someone who's very, very humble, lovely person to follow. So final words from you before we wrap things up, Dan.
That was kind. I like the humble word. I'll try to keep that up. I try to be humble and rational. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan of this little platform and getting straight onto after the game. It's great, right? We don't get time to rehearse. We just go into it. I really enjoy it. I think you've got a good little platform going on here. The YouTube channel is great, buddy. So I'll just encourage everybody to get on your vibe too. But yeah, I'd love to come on again soon, buddy. Whenever you have me, I've really enjoyed this, and you're one of the good guys. So really, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. 100% we'll have you on. So, guys, have a great day, night, evening, wherever you are. And until next time, see ya.